Hello and welcome to the Spaghetti Junction podcast. My name is Bruce,
My name is Gareth.
and we talk about things we just don't know where they're going to go.
I meant to ask you one thing quickly, which just before we do this. What do
Yeah,
you think of this no beard thing?
sorry, the no beard. Yes, you did. You look so much younger. It's amazing how it changes.
I know, I feel like a little boy.
It looks but you've done the full shave on the head as well, which is good.
Yeah, yeah. I
That
like it.
works.
I'm not sure how long I'll keep it, but for now, I like it. Um, Whatever. You know what I mean?
I always, and this is the problem that we guys have when we decide to shave our heads, is that most of us, myself included, are not blessed with the most incredibly strong jawline,
Yeah.
and so we have. That's why it's so important to have the beard. If I take my beard off, I've got such a round face. It's like, I
Really?
look
So
like
am I.
I'm 12. So it's like, no, I won't do that ever again.
Yeah.
None of us,
Well,
we don't all have Jason Statham or Bruce Willis style jawlines,
Jason Statham,
unfortunately.
what a legend.
Yeah.
Legend. Anyways, so we're going to jump right into it, which for most people is like, what? You're not going to talk for the next 10 minutes of absolute tripe and nonsense? No, we're not. Be prepared. This has been a topic that's been waiting to happen.
Yeah, a
Um,
little bit more of a serious one now.
yeah, and I think it's very topical because
Yes.
because I think it was yesterday.
Mm.
I'll tell you right now, which is why I wanted to bring it up. Um, they killed 400 people. I believe it was yesterday. What is the date today? But it's the
Who did?
20th of March.
Israel.
Israel broke the ceasefire for some I don't know reason,
Okay.
and bombs sent a few attacks down into Palestine, into Gaza. They managed to take down, I think, a few of the Hamas. I don't know how
Hmm.
many though, but
Mm.
95% of them were just normal, average people,
Citizens,
um,
yeah.
citizens, mothers, daughters, kids, old people, young people. 400, and then I've just read that there was a pre-dawn attack this morning that killed another at least 71 people. So the
Okay.
death toll of them breaking the ceasefire, of 436 Palestinians,
All right.
183 of them are children.
Wow.
Um, and since Israel's war on Gaza, um, at least 49,500 Palestinians have been confirmed dead. Over 112,000 have been wounded. And then Gaza's government media office recently updated its death toll to more than 61,700, saying thousands of Palestinians are still missing under the rubble and are presumed
Jeez.
dead. And at least
Wow.
1,100 were killed in Israel during the the the, um, the Hamas-led attacks. And this is the difficult one, which is what we're going to be discussing,
Mm.
is um, where where you're going to go, Bruce, is going to be good. As in, people are dying on both sides.
Yeah.
Um,
Always.
now, now, obviously, that attack by Hamas was just ridiculously evil. Like if you could see evil, you would be there just looking, because that was completely evil. There's something just not right
Yeah.
with people who will do that. I would venture to say demonical. I don't know, but there's something so wrong. Um, and
We're
the
talking about. We're
retaliation
talking
was
about. Yeah. We're talking
the
about
very
October
first attack.
October the 7th.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. That
Cool.
was abhorrent. That was like, you see people
Yeah.
and it's like they're not human. I don't know, like
Yeah.
how they can shut certain feelings and emotions out of their system and just blindly do what they do.
Just
So
slaughter. Mm.
absolutely, Israel had to. I understand they had
Mm.
to retaliate,
Yeah.
trying to get against the Hamas people, the Hamas leaders and so forth. Absolutely,
Yeah.
fair enough, because that was abhorrent. But what's been happening since then is just the mayhem and the destruction and the deaths of majority. Yes, Israelis have been killed, but the majority of people who have died in this senseless war that's been going on for thousands of years, that Bruce will bring up, is ludicrous. Thousands. Over like, I think it was like, what? I can't remember what I said. But at least 61,700, and there's thousands missing under the rubble. These are just normal people like you and me going about their lives. They have kids, or they had kids. They were married, brothers, sisters, everything. And Israel, I don't get why they broke the ceasefire. Because and yes, both sides are bad. Hamas, they have killed off, I think the majority of their hostages have died, as in like they have killed them, which again, why would you do that? Why? Because something's seriously wrong upstairs in their head and their heart.
Yeah.
So obviously there have been deaths on both sides, but the predominant amount of people dying have been in Gaza, have been in Palestine. And it's just a mess. But and this is where you can go. This has been going on thousands of years. This is not a, oh my gosh, there's been this war with them for like the last few years. It is not. This is literally in biblical proportions. This has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah. So I think the main conflict between Palestine and Israel, that one, yeah, we can go back, definitely go back over the centuries, but the this main one where it really started was sort of late 1947, 1948, where an actual Jewish homeland was declared in part of Palestine by the British, who had control over that whole area. And what it just seems like is that the British didn't even ask the Palestinian people. They were like, well, we're the controlling country here. And so they obviously did side with the Jewish nation, because you had a large contingent of Jewish people sort of coming back to that land that had originally been called Israel, had been called, the Holy Land for a long time. And you had this, and that was the start of what we called Zionism, where we had this movement. People, Israelis just wanted to come back to their homeland, basically. And then the British, because they were sort of controlling occupiers of that time, just another occupier, basically. Because that country, that area got control, was occupied by so many different what do you call countries, empires over the centuries. And they basically said, so in World War I, Britain was given control by the League of Nations, and it was an area called Mandatory Palestine. And then they committed all the way back in 1917 they committed to creating a Jewish homeland. And then obviously, if you live in a country and you go and someone else tells you, well, we're going to cut off part of your country and we're going to make it a homeland for a completely different people, you who live in that country are probably not going to be happy about that, especially if you're not asked. It doesn't seem like in the research that I did, it didn't seem like there was really much negotiation. It's like, well, this is going to happen and you just need to suck it up. So obviously that fueled a lot of Palestinian animosity towards the Jewish nation. They're like, well, no, well, this is our country. What are you doing? So now if we just go back a little bit more, Israel, it was in the past, centuries ago, during the time of Christ or whatever, it was also known as the land of Canaan, sorry.
Canaan, but
Canaan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was also referred to Palestine, and then it was also referred to as the Holy Land in general. And then there was a time where the Jewish population were independent for quite a while, and this was then before Roman occupation. So that country had been handed back and forth between all different kinds of empires, and then the Romans rocked up, and then took it over, and then that's when Christianity sort of became a prevalent religion as well. The Christianity was adopted by the Romans in that area. And then by the 7th century, that's when Islam had actually taken over that area. And hence, for about the next 200 years, we had the Crusades. We had the war between the European Christians and the Muslims. So obviously that whole area just kicked off in conflict after conflict for 200 years. Can you imagine that? 200 years of conflict. It's just like over religion.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nuts. And then you had, in the 19th century, you had the start of this what we call Zionism, which was a Jewish nationalism movement where Jewish people started moving back to Israel. And then in 1947, you had the United Nations who voted for a partition of Palestine to become a Jewish and Arab state. So they didn't just say, we're going to kick the Arabs out, and this is just for the Jewish people. They're saying, listen, we're going to make this area, we're going to create a homeland for the Jews, but it's also for Arab and Muslim people in general.
Are we talking about about Israel or what?
Yes, yeah, it was going to be that was going to be created as the area of Israel for Jewish people.
Yeah.
And then the Jews obviously accepted this because for a long time it just seemed like the Jewish people were a nation of people without a country. From what I'm seeing, that was so obviously, and then the Jewish people then accepted this, but the Arabs obviously rejected it. And
why? Obviously,
because they were having part of their country taken away and given to someone else without them.
Fair.
Without them really being asked, And then 1948, we had a civil war, which was actually won by the Jewish people, and then there was the Israeli Declaration of Independence, and then from there it just downward spiraled, and it's been doing that ever since. So
yeah, I mean, I wish I had actually researched this a little bit more on my side, but the whole Israel-Palestine thing has been going on for like biblical times. So what you're saying, for the modern time, but there's been, as you're saying, crusades, and I mean, there's been a bit bitterness between, between the two, I wouldn't say countries, they're like, two people groups and that's why I think it's something that may not end before God arrives, or I think it's one of those that no one's going to be happy no matter what.
Absolutely, it's a classic case of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, because no one's going to give. It's just neither side wants to like give an inch. You have, and unfortunately, I think the problem with especially like the Gaza side of Palestine is because the rulers of that area are Hamas. They're a terrorist organization. And so that's why I think we must. I remember in our other podcasts when we've talked about this, it's like Israel is not fighting Palestine. Israel is fighting Hamas, this organization that is hell bent on from their side.
Yes.
They are hell bent. They are hell bent in destroying the Jewish people because of their fundamentalist ideals.
I hear you.
Then,
but then obviously, cannon fodder, I think, is a word to use as well. Like
exactly,
thousands. I mean, whatever amount I gave last time. So, and I think only a smaller portion of Palestine is Hamas. The rest of the people just living their lives, doing what they want to do. So yes, I can see what. Yes, carry on. It's fine. I got thoughts, but carry on.
So you know, I found a very interesting article from the Hoover Institute in the States that sort of put a lot of this quite succinctly or whatever. They're based in Stanford University, and one of the statements is it's like the Arabs won't recognize and Israel won't oblige by offering its demise. So from the Arab side, they won't recognize an independent state of Israel, and Israel won't just sit back and let themselves be taken out, kind of thing. So, you know, and I think it's like you said, you know, if you think about it from a Christian point of view, a biblical point of view, this will only stop once that sort of peace treaty that is predicted in Revelations comes to pass. That is also fake, and it will only last 3 years, or when God comes, and we'll see, you know. So, and we don't know when that's going to happen. So it might, if it's going to happen when we're alive, I don't know if it's going to, you know.
Yeah.
And it will just, like we say, it will neither side will give up what it's trying to do. Israel, you know, and the thing is that Israel is also, they're surrounded by all of these Muslim countries. They really are. And so you've got those Muslim countries who are also sympathetic. So a lot of people do describe it as a bit of a David and Goliath kind of situation. But yeah, so but yeah, like you're saying, you know, the collateral damage in every conflict. You're never just going to take out military targets. There are always going to be, you know, civilians in the crossfire. People, you know, even if people don't get killed, they get displaced. You know, the suffering just goes on and on and on because infrastructure gets destroyed. So even if you don't get killed, you don't have food and water. There's no humanitarian or very little humanitarian aid that gets through a lot of times because conflicts don't stop for long enough to let humanitarian aid get in. And it's nuts.
It is nuts, and I don't think I have a dog in the fight, but I do go back to the thing where the Palestinians have lost so many more lives, and you like ask yourself, like, Israel knows the buildings and pretty much knows where they're gonna, you know, bomb, and they've hit hospitals, schools. They've just, I mean, there hasn't been any. To me, it feels like they're just, yes, they are looking for Hamas. Fair enough. But the way that it's gone about, that it's literally has mostly been Palestinian people and not Hamas people, because they are rats, basically. They're like underground somewhere else. And
and
the attempts to try like supposedly Israel hit the hospital because there was Hamas being sheltered in there or something like that. And it's like, yeah, there is collateral damage, but to a point. I mean, to a point. I mean, I think, yeah. I have a. I want to quickly talk about the, and you can jump back to wherever you are because this could be fun. This whole thing of many Christians just blindly following Israel and supporting Israel. Just, yes, we support Israel. Yes, we love Israel. I mean, in our church services, you're praying for Israel, and they do say, yes, it's on both sides. But, I'm not saying pray for Palestine. I'm just saying, rationally, let's look into what's been happening in the war. So there's the biblical side. Then you also have to look at the face value side right now. And I just have an issue with people blindly following because it's Israel. Because it's Israel and it's in the Bible, therefore it means that we have to support them and don't really have to raise an eyebrow if they're doing anything that's not right. And, it's all warranted. And therefore, because we're Christians, we will support Israel and pray for Israel and bless Israel. Yes, we're sorry, Palestine, but, we have Israel's back. Now, I have a few thoughts on that. I think I'm not saying for every Christian who's doing this, because I'm a Christian too, but I feel that there's, especially evangelicals, people linked with the evangelicals are just over the top, agreeing with Israel, almost like we support you because it's biblical, but we won't look and see what the humanitarian side is doing. And in fact, it's not only the like intensive Christians. It happens to be at a lot of churches I've been to, and it's not me bashing churches, absolutely not. But I feel, and I want to read something very quickly from someone. Actually, I won't really, like read the whole article. But this person brings up 5 reasons we so blindly support Israel in spite of the truth or biblical ethics. So I'm not gonna go through it all because it's really good, but it takes a lot of time through it. I'll just bring in his 5 points, and then move on from that. Here's so this is the person feels that are, so here are his 5 reasons. So many of us irrationally support Israel in spite of. It's good to put in spite of truth or biblical ethics. Yes, now we need to prove those truths, prove those ethics. But so the 5. 1 is he believes that bad theology regarding Israel has let us become victims of our own confirmation bias. 2, he says, yet we do not listen to Palestinian voices, not even our Christian brothers and sisters in Palestine. So that's a very good point. There are Christian people across in Palestine.
Definitely, yeah.
So that's already part of it. But I do like where he says that we don't even listen to the Palestinian voices.
Yeah.
Like it's all about Israel.
Just a blind.
But do we actually discuss the Palestinian people and where they are and what they're going through? And as he says, there are also Christians on that side too. So should we just go the one side? I think that's a great point. 3, he says, this is an interesting point that we don't have to get into right now. But he says that criticism of Israel is sometimes seen as criticism of America.
Ooh. Wow. Okay.
And I was like, that is an interesting one to unpack. We don't have the time for that, unfortunately, but just think on that. As in, like, America is the powerhouse of the world, unfortunately,
Correct.
and they support Israel. They made it very, very
They're
clear.
definitely support. Yeah, definitely supportive of Israel.
Trump
Yeah.
did a whole thing of saying of of um of of moving the I think he moved here, did something. He made Israel the capital of Israel, Jerusalem. Oh, damn it. Okay. I'm gonna research it because I don't want to give the wrong thing about it. But I know that
Right.
Trump did something very not confidential, very controversial.
Okay.
As he does. But yes, because they support Israel, it was a very interesting point that the criticism of Israel is a criticism of America. And I guess you can also go on their views of Israel. If you criticize America, then now you're against Israel. Interesting point. We won't go there now. Two more. He says, we are afraid that critiquing the actions of a nation state makes us guilty of being anti-Semitic. Leave that one there.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand. I can understand that one. Yes. Yes.
I think that sometimes does happen because you're anti. Now all of a sudden you are now anti-Semitic, and it's like, no, I'm not. Last point is standing in solidarity with Muslims. Now this would be a big no in the well. It says in the American Christian culture. I think the Christian culture in general, because yes, obviously a lot of people. I don't know the percentage, but yes, Muslims. Christians, Muslims. So now the fact that you're going to be saying, "Hey, we don't agree with a lot of what Israel's doing, and we're going to be, understandable and being with some people in Palestine who happen to be Muslim." Now all of a sudden, that's now a whole nother kettle of fish.
Yeah.
But I won't, as I say, I won't go through his points. But everything he says just makes you think about things. As in, it's not just I just want people to understand it's just not a black and white thing. It's not a Christian Muslim thing. It's not an Israel Palestine. This is very, very, very intensive. And I feel if you're going to throw your hat in the ring, I think right now is just, I don't know how you could do that because both sides are suffering. Both sides have their views.
Yeah.
So if you can just blindly go and say, okay, I support the one country out of the two, all I'm trying to say is you got to think further than that. And if you're going to use the Bible as a background, I mean, we could get into the whole Israel's background with God and what Israel didn't do and what they did do, and where who was it? It was one of the prophets. Hold on. I had this written. Give me a chance here. I do have it here. One of the prophets. Damn it. Sorry. Oh, it was. Isaiah. Now this is again. We won't go all the way back, but this is how far it goes on the way, because with Isaiah, and obviously the Old Testament, this is the New Testament, but there's still comparisons. Israel, so Isaiah basically time and again he warns God's judgment on Israel. Why? Because of their disobedience and their sin. So and I won't break into it, but Isaiah, there's one a bunch of verses in there, but two portions. It speaks about God's vineyard, or God's Israel, which at that time was lying in ruins because of their rebellion.
Right.
I bring that up only because what Israel is doing, a part of it, I feel, isn't godly. And again, that's for a whole nother debate. But but I'm not. This is such a difficult one, I think.
It is, eh?
I thought I had my views, and I'm not sure. The bottom line is, especially as Christians, to blindly follow and support Israel 100%, even though there are, and I do believe this, because that's now in the Hague as well, with the United Nations. Israel
courts, yeah,
has been called up for war,
war crimes,
war crimes, war atrocities, and you choose to believe it or not, depending on what side you're from. The point being, there are grounds for that to be brought up, because nothing like that gets brought up with the United Nations, with the Hague, unless there's some obvious points around it. So to me, Israel is not going to be the perfect state. Israel.
No.
So I just feel that, and I'm going to leave the rest to you. I'm having my impassioned moment here. Bear with me. I just feel that you cannot support wholeheartedly. I believe Israel definitely has its good points. Yes, there's a biblical side to it. Yes, Jerusalem. Yes, everything along those lines. Absolutely. I'm not downplaying Israel's importance, especially if you're Christian or if you're Jewish. But above and beyond that, I think the one thing that we don't talk about is where was it? We should be following God and not a country. Meaning his principles, meaning love, mercy, justice, reconciliation. That should be part of our mantra as Christians. That should be part of our conversations within this war going on within Israel and Palestine. How is God being seen through people's actions in this? And that's my thing. Let's stop holding on to a certain country because of let me just rather leave it there. On the points of we need to have God's heart in this war going on, and not just latch onto a country willy-nilly without seeing everything going on. No country's perfect. Israel ain't perfect. Obviously, Palestine's not perfect. But I believe as Christians, we should be in the middle of it, discussing God's love and God's reconciliation and God's understanding. Everything as a Christian should be about that, and not trying to side yourself with that country or that country.
I think,
Cool, I'm done.
And I'm done. Right.
Sorry, that took a while, I know, but that has been waiting for a few years.
No, you had that one in the chat.
Yes, I had that one waiting for a very long time.
You had that one in the chamber ready to go. Cock locked, ready to rock.
But anyways, the rest is yours, sir. The rest is yours.
I think, you know what, I think in our technological age of social media and so many things sort of dividing us, do you think, well, I think it's probably a stupid question, but it does, in our time where critical thinking and sort of weighing up both sides of an argument, that sort of is not a trend, and people are definitely more easily swayed. So even if you're a Christian, and you don't go, oh, hold on, time out. Let me just think about this for myself for a bit.
Yeah.
And go, okay, cool. So, all right, yes, okay, I've got Israel. Israel, Jewish people, God's chosen people, that whole deal, biblical history. Um, but then you also think of like what I mentioned. It's like, well, how would you feel if you were a country, say New Zealand? Oh, sorry, you live in North Island. We're going to make North Island a new country, and we're not going to consult you. And this is a whole bunch of new people that we're going to give this country to. And I think you'd be a little pissed off about that, you know? Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah. Hashtag just saying, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Although a flaw with that one is most Kiwis are like, all right, just leave us alone with our sheep. We'll be fine. Carry on.
Yeah, that's also true.
We're like pretty chilled here.
And then,
yes.
Okay, fine. Maybe New Zealand was a bad example.
No, sorry, I'm playing funny. Carry on with your good point.
Okay. Yeah. So, and yeah, maybe more Christians should be thinking a little bit more, considering the other side a little bit more, and like not just going like, just saying, oh, just biblical truth. This is what the Bible says, and this is all I'm going to believe. And they got these blinkers on, instead of like going like, well, okay, let's look at the really bad things happening on both sides, and then let's look back in history and we see why this actually happened. And and I don't think it's at all a problem to pray for Palestine, to pray for the Palestinian people. God loves those people. God loves Hamas. God loves evil people, because but he does, because God so loved the world.
But he doesn't endorse,
and he doesn't love that he doesn't love the actions. He doesn't love the actions. He doesn't love the ideologies. He doesn't love the intentions.
Correct.
Of what happens. But as human beings, we know that he wants to see all humans come to Christ, and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen. But we know this from our Christian teaching, and that's what God wants. So to sit and so for a pastor, you never know. How many pastors can stand in front of their congregations and have the courage to say, you know what, I want us to pray for Palestine. Can you imagine how many people would be like, seriously? How many church leaders can actually have got the courage to actually say that? Like, listen, we need to really, really consider Palestinian people. I know our thing is, yes, maybe support Israel, but this might be controversial, but I think we need to consider Palestine, and we need to pray for them.
Yeah.
And that.
I would hope that would be more of an occurrence than we probably think.
I'd like to think positively on that as well.
Yeah.
If they really understand God's love and
everyone, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then from what you were saying just a little bit back as we slowly wrap up, is that how you were talking about them going, Christians and biblical truth. I think sometimes people, and this is where it's difficult. I think it's sometimes, and I'm not saying Christians are or they're not, or some are, some aren't, but it's easy to not fully understand the Bible or what is the Bible, in the sense of it's easy sometimes to some people, not everybody, but they will take certain verses or certain parts and use that within their conversation. So it's a difficult one, Bruce. It really is, and I think the bottom line is God loves everybody because He made us all, all of us, and obviously His heart hurts. And would you believe that God's heart hurts for everybody, for both sides? I think He just wants this fight to stop. just quit it. It probably
Mm.
will not. But I believe that his heart hurts for both sides, for both people,
Yeah,
whatever
definitely.
religion they are,
Definitely.
because he's God and he
Yeah.
cares and he's loving. So
Mhm.
I think we should be more loving and more caring and more and saying, all right, God, what do you see in this? How should I be seeing this? So it's no one saying you've got to say this, you've got to believe this. It's saying, all right, personal prayer time with God. How do you want me to see this? Let's have
Yeah.
a personal one-on-one conversation so I can know how should I be addressing what is going on, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just think it needs to be something as simple as that, than trying to anyways.
Yeah, maybe, and we also, like, I always, not always, I often mention this, but we live in a time where it's so often we prioritize emotions over facts and rationalization.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an incredibly emotion
Oh,
packed
it's huge.
subject,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, obviously, if you're just gonna prioritize emotion over anything else, that's where you're actually going to be swayed more easily. It's where if it's where you if you do your best to sort of place emotions to the side a little bit, not completely dumb them down, but and then look at rational facts and, like I said,
Yeah.
history
Yeah.
and why these things happen and whatever. I think that's where a lot of the sort of the cooler heads would prevail.
Yeah.
Because if it's all about emotion, you're very,
Yeah.
double-minded man is unstable in all his ways,
No,
kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
You're
for sure.
swayed like a reed
Yeah,
in the wind. So
absolutely. I mean, I
it's
remember when the whole Ukrainian war, and again, that's been going on for years, but the recent one, recent as in it's been
yeah,
going
yeah,
on
yeah.
I remember chatting with somebody who was also passionate about God, but they can sometimes be swayed with emotions. And one of them was linked, and there was a whole written thing sent to multiple Christian people about why Russia were doing the right thing. They had biblical reasons for it. It was crazy. So, okay, and again, all that stuff that got picked to dress up their reasons. Oh, because it's biblical and this and this and that. Many people were on board with it. Oh, that makes sense. It's biblical and everything like that. So yeah, Russia is obviously doing the right thing. Rationally, let's think about it. And again, that war as well, no one's winning. It's
No.
it's also war in general is just
Yeah, it's just, and then obviously with the internet, you really don't know what to believe when you're hearing news reports. Some people say this, some people say that. You can't, and that's why that critical thinking
yeah
is you weighing up both sides of an argument and going, okay, let me just time out. If
yeah
I'm interested in this, let me just, instead of just blindly going, because it don't you know don't listen to Fox News, because all you're going to get is conservative right leaning stuff. Don't listen to CNN, because all you're going to get is left leaning stuff.
yeah
And then it seems it's very difficult to find reports that just report and have no sway either to the left or to the right or to one
yeah
point rather than another,
yeah.
and rather just have this very neutral, we're just reporting the facts and you can decide for yourself. It's very
Sure.
difficult, because so many of these people are trying to push a point, they're trying to push an agenda all the time, and it's just being divisive.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever seen a time in history when the human race has been more divided over so many different subjects. It's really, really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these conflicts in different parts of the world, whether
Oh,
it's Russia, Ukraine, or
absolutely.
Gaza, Israel, or right and left in the US, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just want to go live in a. Just going to live in a cabin in the woods somewhere, man. It's like, you know what? I'm out.
Yes, very hard.
Done.
Yeah, the world isn't real to me anymore. La 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 la.
No, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, say no. You
The
can't
best
sing
way to
the
stop the world.
national.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah. Well, that was
It was a good chat.
I'm sure there'll be people who will agree. I'm sure there'll be people who will disagree, and that's why we do what we do. Just because we believe it doesn't mean it's the right. It's like the universal truth. We can just have our own opinions. But yeah, be interested. Do you want to put your opinions down? You know, and it's not a political thing. Let's just keep it on a, as to the humanitarian side of things. This is humanity at its breaking point right now, I feel.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, definitely.
Yeah.
Good way of putting it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, this has been the spaghetti. Let's try that again.
The spaghetti as part of the K9 area. Yes, that's right, Bruce. We're coming out of the K9 area. And Take two, Bruce.
This has been the Spaghetti Junction podcast. My name is Bruce. Jeez, I can't talk today. And he's Gareth.
Thanks, son. I'm Gareth.
Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And give us your opinions in the comments. Let us know what you think, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Goodbye, all.